Grab your cocktail and get ready for this episode of the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast. Welcome to the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Freemasons while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian, and this dashing gentleman on the screen with me, you already saw from the thumbnail. Yeah, and also by the name, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce because we tried in the pre-call. I was doing terrible. So, Mats, welcome to the podcast, but tell everyone how to pronounce your name, and I'm sure they're going to get it the first time.
Yeah, my name is Mats-Ove Jaerpenfjord, and I come from Sweden, so that makes it a little bit harder to maybe pronounce my name.
Yes, so everybody that said Bird, why couldn't you just pronounce his name correctly? You heard, and so now you know why. So, Mats, thank you for coming on the podcast, and I can't wait to get into what we're going to talk about and the reason why you're on the show. So, thank you. Have you ever seen an episode?
I saw one with Grand Texas, not Grandmaster, he was Grand Steward or something.
Justin Duty.
Yes,
Yes.
that one.
Yeah, Justin's a great human being, so I'm glad you saw that. So that's good. So you don't know a lot that's going on, which is good. So we got to a little bit prep, but Mats, before we start talking about masonry, let everyone know who's Mats the man, not the mason.
Okay, the man. Well, as I said, I'm born and grew up in Sweden. It's a small little town, Uddevalla, on the west coast of Sweden. It's a beautiful town in the summer. In the winter, it's really cold, and it have humidity and cold humidity, and that is not good. But the Uddevalla is 1 hour drive north above Gothenburg, so maybe that's make it a little bit easier to find out where I come from. I grew up and lived there for 24 years before I moved out to further up in Sweden, actually, to study at the university in Luleå, the University of Technology. And there I study accounting, or actually more accounting management. And I also took that is a master degree, and I took a bachelor degree in jurisprudence in Swedish law. Then of course, you have to find a job, and I did that in Stockholm. I moved around a little bit in Stockholm, and also to Västerås, another town, and back again. And I've been working with accounting for, you can say 35 years. So I pretty know what that is. Before I took off to US, I run my own business in accounting, and it was pretty successful. I had a lot of clients during the last 6 years before I came here, and I worked 24/7 for 4 years, and it was really, really hard. Anyway, I applied for the green card lottery 2016. And I was okay. I don't have any parents anymore. I don't have to worry about them if I coming to US and so on. But hey, who win on the lottery? So I just sent it in, and I won on the first attempt.
Wow.
So I took it as a sign, and I sold my condo, the summer house and so on, after my dad, and the family farm that was his aunt. The last one lived there. We sold that, and I sold my clients to another accounting company and took off. Sounds easy, but it's not. So it took 2 years before I actually could move. And I had to send in an application. It's not just you win the lottery and then you have the green card. You win the possibility to apply for diversity visa. And this is, as far as I know, the older George Bush, the president, who actually shaped it as it is today.
Okay.
So I'm here, and I came here November 20th, 2018. I got a job in 2019. And during that year, I also know that, okay, I am a Mason from Sweden. So I actually know that, okay, guys here should be the same. So I took contact and I got friends and coming into that, and I got a job through there. Is that is not the reason you should be in the masonry, but anyway,
Sure.
it's
Sure,
what
but
helps.
it certainly helps. Sure.
It helps, yes. So I got a job, and I'm still in the same place. I moved around in that organization. So I am accountant at corporate accounting department. I've been there for almost 5 years. In the company in whole, I've been there for 5 years. And coming to, and why do I choose Texas of all 50 states? Yeah, well, I come from a cold country, and Sweden is like up in the level of Alaska, northern Canada, and all who have been there know how it is in the winter. And I wanted to defrost, and I did. After 3 years in Texas summers, I defrosted. I promise.
You almost
So,
went from defrosting to full on melting.
yeah, actually, yes. So I'm really open-minded to find a more balanced climate. And I liked it also when I've been to DC and New England area, so on. I did it like it there. So I'm open-minded. And but it had been so far a pretty good trip and journey. And I said to my people in Sweden and so on, I go for Texas to defrost and start my journey there. And also why San Antonio is that I have a high school friend here who found a woman, married her 2005, and that on their wedding, I visited them, and that was my first travel to US at all. And people said to me, "Oh, you will be staying there. You're not coming back." But I did. I come back to Sweden. But the feeling here in US was, I couldn't really point a finger on it, but it was a special feeling. Coming to this big country, coming from a small country, I only have seen US in the news, movies and everything, a lot of myths coming and going and
Right.
talking about US and so on. But be here and experience it with all the contradiction it is. Um, it's fantastic. It's wonderful to be here and see every places and so on. If I have time to traveling around,
Sure. Sure.
so yeah, but I love it here, and uh, pretty much that's it. Very short about me, so we not
Yeah.
take the whole
That's
interview
good. Well,
time.
and those who listen, no kids, no ex-wives, so he doesn't have to buy a dress or anything like that. So we've already knocked that out.
No,
So
no, I'm free as a bird, I usually say. So I can and go. And the only family I have still left in Sweden is my 3-year-old older sister, and she have 5 adult kids, and she now have 5 grandchildren.
oh, nice. Nice.
So she is fully occupied, and they will take care of her. So I don't have to worry.
Nice. So let's go to the Masonic part of it. So
Yeah.
you've been a Mason for over 20 years. So walk us through very high level. We'll get into the detail later, but the high
Yeah.
level, when'd you join? What'd you get involved in? Fast forward to Texas. What have you joined? And then we'll dive back into the Swedish Rite.
All right. Well, I've been a little bit interesting in the masonry or order societies and so on. And the year before 2002, I found a website. There was a lot of information about order organization and so on. And I contacted that man who created this website. And he said, oh, he was a teacher, so he gave me a lot. And he said, why not to join one of the most honorable, not honorable, but fancy or uh, oldest organization, Freemasonry. Yeah, well, I don't. We have to be recommended in. So, and I don't have any. Well, I can be one of, he said. And then, okay, I needed a second one. So I went to the library where I could find the members list for the first time they let it out just recently in
Oh,
that
wow.
time. So I have a pretty good luck. And I thought one of my clients now when I work in with accounting, I have lawyers and auditors and whatnot as a clients. No one of them I found in that book. I just saw when I scrolled through it more or less in this paper book, and I found a name that was my father's ex-co-worker from the 80s. He now lived in Stockholm. And I thought, okay, there I maybe have the second one. So I found him, emailed him, and he said, of course I remember you. I will be your second,
Second signer, yeah.
yeah, mentor or something. And so I got two. And I sent in my application. We met up. They know me already. But it took 6 months before a waiting time before I could actually go through the degree.
Makes sense.
And just shortly, we have the degree, and that is large, nothing else. We always have a candidate. But it was interesting coming in and see everything and what happened and so on with me. It's quite different from me. But that is my starting journey. And it take some time before you come up to second and third and so on. And now I'm coming through one ninth degree. So in October now, I will have the 10th degree, the last degree actually you can have, if you're not an officer.
22 years later.
22 years.
Yeah.
It can go a little bit faster if you're an officer in everywhere and so on, and much, much more active. I heard short time as 15 years. But it's
To go through the Swedish rites. So let me ask you a question. So what is the initiation fee in Sweden to join Masonry?
Well, in that time, 22 years ago, let's see here, it was something between $100 and $150.
The initiation fee, not the dues, but the initiation fee?
Initiation fee or something, yeah, like that, yes.
And now?
Huh?
And what is it now?
Oh, now I don't know, but I think they raised it a bit and so on during time.
Sure.
And also that inflation and so on, so they have raised the dues also.
Sure.
Not hilarious much, but it's a raise. So coming to the dues, it's going up for every degree you coming into. And now I pay $300 or $350.
Annually?
Annually, yes.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap. It's not a low
like in the United States.
Yeah.
We're very low. I talk about it a lot on the podcast. I think that we've been too low for too long, and it's kind of created some problems for us here.
Yeah. I have seen that. So it's unfortunately you have to run.
Yeah. Why does it take so long to go through the Swedish rites?
Well, it takes a long time with a purpose. And that is, you have to think and contemplate for degrees. And you have time to go to the library, read the books. There is a list, there is a folder with every degree. There is a tab for every degree, and you have a list of what you should read and what is recommended to read. And you also have to go to the lodge, go to the degree and see the degree again, see someone else go through the same degree. And of course, you're higher up you're coming, you're more degrees, you're more levels you can see. Mm-hmm. And also maybe find out what connects them. And also that, so in the beginning, it's pretty short time. It's 6 months, and then 9 months, and then 12 months, and then it goes further. So now, between 9 and 10th degree, I have been waiting 5 years.
Wow.
That is because I have been living here and have not been active.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but there is a lot. So that is one reason, actually. So they see you and you type right in yourself in the library so they can register that and so on. And also that we have, every time you go to a lodge, we have like a small plastic card right now these days. I think we have that for 10 years or so. And let's see if I can show. Um, so you only just go to the laptop there and beep, and then you are registered.
Oh, okay.
It's very simple and easy way to do it. And I during this in Sweden also I have been like treasurer, third treasurer, because we have 4 or 5 officer lines, so we're not being overworked. So I worked once a month and so on. We could change between each other. Oh, I cannot this time. Can you take it? I take yours next.
Sure, makes sense.
I've been music master, third music master also, because we play music.
Do the degree work and everything, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I try to not say too much.
Sure. No, it makes sense. So let me ask you this. How many members are in Sweden, roughly?
Oh, just in Sweden, I have a number of 16,000.
16,000. And what's roughly the population of Sweden?
10 million.
10 million. Okay. So it's still a very small percentage.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we have a candidate for every degree, and we have a long line of waiting for it.
So people have to be patient.
People have to be patient, and that is the meaning of it. It's not a rush through. So here you go. Here you have the 10th degree. Thank you and welcome.
Right.
You have to go through and take time and dedicate your time for it. And there is a lot of different things we do besides the degree work and so on. So, but we have a board who take care of all the daily work and so on. So we don't have any statement meetings.
So you probably, this is my opinion, but tell me where I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes so long to go through, once you're in, you might have less turnover because it's not just to get in, oh, it's not what I want. There's no commitment. I'm out. Now, there's a different level of commitment, or do you still have the same type of issues because you're a Mason in Texas as well? Do you still have those types of issues?
No, not far as I know. But I can tell about the pandemic and so on. Of course, during that time, everything was closed down.
Fair.
We didn't have any meeting and so on. And people during that time found other things to do. So the year after, when they opened up again, it was a little bit problem because people didn't have time anymore to come, and they started to have 1 year of comeback and try to have every month come back. And after that year, they know in the statistic that, okay, we have succeeded pretty well. Almost everyone are coming, and the visitors to the degrees or so on have been increased.
Right.
So next year after that, they have the process that, okay, now we have to find new members and starting coming up like we were before the pandemic. And they have succeeded to do that also.
Wow, good. Yeah, so I think the pandemic hurt a lot. Well, a lot of organizations, and to your point, people found something else to do with their time. Yeah, that was really rough on us. So let's I want to touch real fast in Texas and then kind of come back. So let me read some things and make sure that when you came to Texas, you joined a lodge. You joined the Triune Lodge number 15.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit fun there because 2019, I contacted, and Alamo Lodge number 44 was the first one who actually responded. And that was Ron Havens, the secretary.
Right.
And I met up with him, and he showed me around, and he approved me. He did some investigation. I don't know what he did, but
sure.
Something. Then after some time and so on, I sent in an application, and they voted me in. Then it came some kind of, administration work in the Grand Lodge and so on, took a little bit of time. So during that waiting time to Grand Lodge took that, Triune also voted me in. Okay. And the secretary there was really, really, really eager. I would say he was like a pain in the ass, excuse my word, but for the Grand Lodge. So they registered Triune as my mother lodge here in US. But
Okay,
well,
got you. Okay.
yeah,
So then you joined the York Rite and became a Shriner. And then later
yes,
after that, you joined the Scottish Rite,
yes,
right? Where you're the past high priest at the San Antonio chapter 381, right?
yes, yes,
And past a thrice illustrious master, past commander, and you're the current worshipful master of your Triune Lodge number
yes,
15 now, right?
yes,
And the sovereign master of Texas Council number 335 of the Allied Masonic degrees,
yes,
and the first vice president of the High 12, number 685.
yes,
All right. So I go through that because there's a lot, but I want to
yes,
ask you a question before we go through some. The formality in the U.S. lodges has changed quite a bit, even since I've joined. Is it quite different from the formality of the Swedish rites?
yes,
A
yes,
huge
they
difference.
are.
Like,
Yes,
um, there when you go to lodge in Sweden, it's a black jacket, white shirt, black tie, right?
yes.
Right. Uh,
No, no exceptions.
no, except I love that. I hate that we've gone away from that, but that's just
Yeah,
a.
I can
I'm
tell that
not.
they don't let you in
y-
if you
y-
don't.
So Kadim Lowe, he was on an episode before. He's a Texas Mason that's traveled around Africa, England, and he almost didn't get admitted into a lodge because he had a black jacket, white shirt, and maybe a dark brown tie. They're like, absolutely not. So they found him a black tie. So, which I love the formality. I
Yeah,
think that's just me. A lot of people that watch this, they'll say, Bird, you need to relax, and which is fine. But I like it personally. So that's just me.
yeah,
So the
yeah. I can.
formality is quite different.
Yeah, but to our help, that if you come like me and also coming from work and so on, there you don't have to be so formal. We have a locker room in the basement,
Right.
so you can go there, you can shower, you can change and things and so on, and then coming up and go
Right.
to the large room and so on. So
Yeah.
it's very there is service around. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense because everyone's got a different vocation. So
yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
um, why let's talk about the US.
Yeah.
Why do you think more men aren't joining Masonry?
That is a good question. I've been thinking about that actually, and we talk about that in the lodge with brethren each other and so on. Historically, it was a big influx after the world wars,
Yes, sir.
and there was some reason for that. Maybe they wanted to have the feeling of brotherhood and so on continue after the world
Yes,
wars.
sir. Yes, sir.
And also after the Korea War and Vietnam and so on, and they found it in the Mason. It was also another time. You didn't have internet. You didn't have so much TV, maybe. You have radio. You didn't have so much organizations, maybe. Well, I'm not born in that time, so I don't really know. But it was less things actually competing with the Mason and that kind. Maybe people also in that time, like in Sweden also, they were more into organize themselves and go together and do things together. We have been more individual now in a modern or these days, not
Right.
modern time, it was modern then.
Right.
So, um, so many things is competing, and I, maybe it can be also that it have been coming out of fashion. I don't know,
That make
but
I've not heard that, but I think that's fair. And I think the way you said it, coming out of fashion, it was pretty vogue. It was in the 50s. You were the who's who if you were a Mason. And
yeah,
maybe it's not as in vogue as it used to be.
no, and also that people don't know so much about it anymore. You here in US are, mm, well, I should not you here in US because I'm a citizen right now
Right.
since last year.
Right.
So,
Oh,
but
congratulations. Nice.
thank you, thank you. Um, also that before it was more parades and so on. Yorkites coming out, walking with their commandery uniforms, and that was more out and so on. And people were more aware of it. Now today it's like, are you going to masquerade? And so that I know that here in US it is to be one, ask one. But if you don't know anything, you don't know what to ask about.
I agree.
So that is the marketing. You have to market.
Should we be marketing more?
Yes, but it's not marketing like you sell bijouterie or whatever. You have to market in a serious way, so people know that this is serious. This is not whatever. People should know that this is an internal journey. It's not like in Sweden. It is more internal.
Right.
We travel and go to other lodges and so on, yes, but that is not the main purpose. The internal journey is the longest and the hardest journey you can start, and it never ends. You always can learn something. And I think that is what we should, in my perspective and my experience from the both side of Atlantic Ocean, it's like maybe we should do more about the ritual and symbols and talk about that, learning about that, what it tells us. Some. Maybe it is. I don't know. Now these days also that religion have coming out, and it's not that impacting anymore maybe in people's lives, younger generation and so on. Mm-hmm. And people maybe in the future also start searching for something, and maybe their Freemasonry can be something to fill in. But then we need to have more of the ritual explaining, because not everyone is intellectually sharp enough, including me, to understand everything. That is it, and so on. There is a purpose.
And a lot of the times you don't really pick up on it until you come back and see it done. Like, oh, that's what that was about. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to study the symbolism and so on, so you don't totally go off. Because if you don't have some kind of line and follow and so on and understanding, you can have your own interpretation of everything and so on. But I believe strongly that there is, from the creator of this Freemasonry and so on, there is a thought that we should pick up.
It's the internal versus the external.
Yeah. So that what are they telling us from the beginning? What did they tell us? They had another kind of schooling and so on in school and whatever. They learn how they saw on the world and so on, and life and society for 200 years ago compared to what we do today. So with our eyes, it's totally different from those 200 years ago. So we might have to learn and understand them so we can understand the ritual today. And maybe they can, for 200 years ago, talking to us through the ages and tell us something that we need to know.
Fair. Yeah, that's I agree. I mean, it's deep, but I agree. So let me take you to something less deep.
Okay.
So if you had a magic wand,
oh,
and this magic wand you could tap and it do just one thing to improve masonry, and it changes it instantly, what would you want that magic wand to do?
Oh, I think that is pretty much what I said, actually. Go for the symbols and rituals.
Yep.
Develop that, and make that a little bit more focus on.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's good, all the things and charity and so on. We have charity also in Sweden and so on.
Sure. And very good charity. I mean, a couple of $1 million, right?
Yeah, that is really good to do that. And that is what we should continue with. But maybe that is not the main focus. And brotherhood, yes.
You can be charitable without it being financial. You can be charitable with your time.
You can be that, yes. You can help people doing things and so on. So that is many things. You don't have to be fancy and giving money to research and medication and so on, medication research and so on. But it's in your small way you can do some. So charity is good. Brotherhood, that is the thing that binds us and together. And also that there is a lot of other things, all the things we do together in the spare time and so on, spare time outside the lodge. I mean, chili cook-off like we do here in Texas and so on.
Oh gosh, Texas and
whatever,
chili.
yeah, and whatever not and so on. And Shriners is a really good thing with parades and circus and stuff and so on, and bringing in money. Yeah. As you know what they do. I see all the faces you have behind you and so on.
Yeah, they do a lot.
So it's very good to do that. But in the Blue Lodge, and maybe also the Scottish Rite and so on, that is more esoteric, and go in for that and talk about it. What is
much like the Swedish rites?
A little bit more, yeah. Scottish Rites, touch what it is.
Yeah,
similar kind of.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So if you could have dinner with anybody that you've never had dinner with before, past or present, who would that person be and why?
I am not coming to make a short version longer. I'm not coming from a Mason family. I am the only one in the family who are actually living today, as far as I know.
Me too.
Who is a Mason. And but my godmother's father, he was a Mason. During his time in the 1920s, he was actually living in Boston. And he was a walking, patrolling policeman there in the corner. I have been visiting that corner. And he was a Mason. He became a Muslim. I took actually contact with the lodge he was, and they found information about him.
Oh, I love that.
And that was interesting. He was a policeman, and he was obviously pretty handsome. He dated some American women. And on his second trip to visit his mom in Sweden, he found his woman, Alma, what it was, and she came with him to US. And when he came back, obviously in the register there, they told me that he said that, well, I prefer a Swedish woman. That man I want to meet, Theodore Andersson. Actually, I met him when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
I didn't know really he was amazing.
Right. So you'd have dinner with him. You'd have lots of questions.
Oh, yes. And talk about what my experience and his experience and so on.
Yeah, that would be great. All right. So I've got a Texas test for you. Speaking of chili, because I know how these Texans are about chili. Does Texas chili, beans or no beans?
I think it had to be beans.
There we go. So I'm just anxious. This will get to all the Texans going. So
yeah, I learn a little bit, but I'm far away to be actually called a Texan.
Do you have cowboy boots?
I have, actually.
You have a hat?
No, I have a Mexican sombrero, ordinary hat. Not this.
I mean, you are in San Antonio, so I suppose that's probably
acceptable. It's actually bought in Mexico City. Yes.
Oh, nice. So I'm going to give you 4 things to choose from. Oh. One must go forever. It was never created. Okay.
Oof.
So you have tacos.
Okay.
Pizza.
Oof.
Chicken wings. And a hamburger. Between tacos, pizza, chicken wings, and a hamburger, one must go forever. It was never invented, Mats. What is it?
Well, Texas. Hamburger, US, yes, of course, that habit stay.
Yes.
Taco, of course, because it's Texas.
Now you got chicken wings and pizza. What's got to go?
Chicken wings.
Everybody says that. It's because it's
Why
so
that?
small.
We do.
Yeah,
We
it's so
do.
small and it's a lot of work. And pizza, you can do so many things with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I have to I think I have to agree with you. Mats, I can't wait to get you back on an episode in the future to talk about some more things, especially after you finally go through your 10th degree. We would love to hear as much as you can share. So, Mats, thanks for joining the Old Fashioned Masonic podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't have anything, but I brought this one with me,
Oh, it's
Coke.
perfect. That's very American of you. Cheers.